I'm Kevin.
And this is the story of our honeymoon. We got married in October of 2015, which was also my first year teaching at Chicago Public Schools on the Southwest Side.
And I was returning to school to finish my degree.
Instead of taking our honeymoon right away, we decided to take it in December over winter break so it wouldn't interfere with any of our school. So we were really excited to go on our honeymoon. We were going to go on a cruise from Brazil to Argentina and Uruguay. But the way it worked out, that we had to get a flight that left at 5 a.m. on Friday. So I, on Thursday, was trying to make sure I had everything done. I got to say goodbye to all my students, give everybody a hug. And, I was really tired and really stressed, first year teaching. But so that night, I really wanted to go to sleep and get some rest because we had to leave really early at 2 a.m. But Kevin just didn't even want to go to sleep.
I didn't sleep.
But I was so insistent that I did go to sleep, but I ended up waking up late.
So instead of taking the CTA, we took an Uber. So we're in our Uber, and before we know it, we're at a gas station, and our Uber driver is stepping out saying he's going to grab a Monster, so that made us even more late.
And so when we get to the airport, we go to check in our bags, but the guy at the bag check says, no, you can't. The check is closed. So we have to go talk to a customer service agent. And she told us that there's no way that we could get all of our baggage on, but if one of us wants to take our carry-ons, we can go, but we have to go now because the flight is boarding and we still have to go through security. So we decide that it's best that I go and I grab all of our stuff. I run weeping through security. I don't even have time to put my shoes on. I grab them, run to the flight, and I get out of the plane right before they're about to close the doors.
And meanwhile, I'm talking to a ticket agent, and she's looking for a flight, and I'm sweating it out. And she finally finds a seat, the only seat that will get me there in time to make the shuttle. And it's going to cost me an arm and a leg, but we do it. So it has an 8-hour layover, but it will get me in Brazil 2 hours before the shuttle leaves for the port. And I'm in my layover, and then they announce there's a half-hour delay. And then after that, they announce there's an additional 45-minute delay. And then I finally get in a flight, but we won't take off for another 45 minutes. So I'm even worried about making it to the shuttle in time.
To make matters worse, every time that I'm in the air, he's on the ground and vice versa, so we can't really communicate. But the last message that I got from him was that I needed to figure out where the cruise shuttle people were going to meet us. And so I'm walking around the airport trying to find somebody I can ask, and through broken English and Portuguese, I figure out that the shuttle's going to pick us up in Terminal 1, even though our flight let out at Terminal 3. So I make sure to get back to the airport to meet him in the morning to make sure that I'm there for him when his flight lands. And I'm so anxious and nervous that my head is super itchy. I feel itchy all over. And I am going back to where his flight's going to let out in Terminal 3. And there's the cruise shuttle people. And I'm freaking out because the last message I sent said to go to Terminal 1, and there's a way that he could bypass and not even come out. But fortunately...
Luckily, I was walking through, and I was headed towards Terminal 1, and I spotted her.
So he comes out, and we embrace, and we're crying and hugging.
And everyone's looking at us weirdly, strangely, and I can't imagine what was running through their heads.
But so we're finally together. We make it to the cruise. Everything works out. We're checked in. Everything's fine. But unfortunately, the weather was also really rainy for the first few days. And then about 2 days into our trip, I'm still super itchy, and I assume it must be some rash caused by anxiety. And I pull a bug out of my hair. But then I freaked out. We went down to the ship doctor, and he was like, oh, maybe something just flew in your hair. But if something else shows up, come back and let me know.
So we're out in Argentina the next day, where we're about to go. We're walking around town, and we're about to go do a nice steak dinner and go see a tango show when...
I pulled another bug out of my hair, and my heart drops, and I know what it is, but we go back to the cruise doctor anyway, and he tells me I have lice. And that's when I remembered that there was a lice outbreak at school before we left. So...
Yeah, and the rest of the trip, we're spending each night treating our hair with lice shampoo and pulling out nits.
I wouldn't have been able to do it without this guy. But this is why we need a honeymoon do-over, so please help us.